Welcome back to Q3, Week 3, Day 2, Two Arms! Get it? Like you're picking up guns? Yeah, guns. I'm picking up guns. Anyway, today we are going to build the arms of our model in Autodesk 3D Studio Max 2014. Let's get started. Today, just like we built with the knee, we need to be careful about how we model our arms because just like the back of the knee, we need that sort of big quad that's going to deform properly. We need to do that on the inside of the elbow because if you think about it, it bends the same way as our knee does. Um, the sleeve openings were created on my model in the same way that we created the pants. And then be careful when you create your limbs that your scale tool doesn't get messed up. Remember how it did in the last video when I started freaking out because the scale tool, I didn't freak out, but the scale tool got changed and I wasn't quite ready for it to change. And it was annoying. But yeah, so now we're good. Um, the arms, you'll notice that the way they look, especially from the front, which here, this over here, we have this sort of transitional deltoid up here in the corner, in the top, on the shoulder. This is a transition from our chest, how it sort of is that arch that we talked about earlier. Okay, this is the completed one that I've done already, and tomorrow we'll do hands, and we'll get started on that tomorrow. All right, so for now, let's look at our arms. So from the front, it looks very smooth and sort of easily transitioned, right? But it wasn't, as you can imagine. What I did is I had an actual cylinder, and the first thing I had to do is figure out from here where my cylinder was actually going to attach. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to close this and open up, well actually maybe I'll just do it from here. All right, 4. Come on. All right, so here's my arm. You'll notice it's got the, I'll turn my concept art back on. You'll notice I have that shirt on. Now I didn't follow the shirt geometry because gravity is pulling it down in this outward position, but realistically that's not something we're going to be worried about. So I went ahead and faked though as though gravity was not really affecting that arm very much. One actual problem that I have on this is I did not rotate it probably like I should have. I can fix this. It'll be interesting to fix, but I'll fix it later. So I wouldn't worry about it. Now, realistically, in this position, my bicep would be here. Okay, so this is where your bicep muscle would be. So with like this section here, your forearm would be significantly smaller along this direction. Now, once again, this is, I need to make sure I'm not grabbing geometry that I don't want to grab. I don't want the shirt. So I gotta make sure I don't grab the shirt. I just want that earlier section. Top F3 so I can see. Realistically, this should probably come in some like that. That's pretty good. It's a little weird through there too. That might be better. All right. Cool. All right, great. So from the front, it looks pretty good. Once again, this is where we start extruding out from our chest portion. And if we were to just look at the arm itself, like I said, I built this section here. Actually, I built this section like this. I'm going to take it off. Have its own object. And then grab that and delete it. Okay, so this is what I had to begin with. And I knew that I was going to make sure that I had enough edges to sort of make this work. So I counted the edges. You should be able to just double click and get most of them. So I've got 10 edges here plus 2 more. And this is 10 edges. Okay. So I think I just cap this section here and then I move that in. Now I'm pretty sure the whole thing is 10. 10 was sort of a theme on this one, on this piece. Let me see. 10. Yeah, I've got 10 edges. So great. So my arm cylinder is there. Um, Initially, once again, like you're going to be able to build your arm. I'm pretty sure I have faith in you in building the arm. Once again, it's mostly using cylinders. You make a cylinder, you extrude out a portion of it, you extrude it out again, you take those verts and move them around, and that's basically it. Now, when it comes to the distortion portion, haha, distortion portion, good band name. You're going to want to make sure that you've got one edge that's moving straight to here, and then you've got this portion of the arm is made up of, like, I'm using 3 large verts, or 3 large faces that will deform. All right, so if I take these and I bend them, it's going to look bad now, but and then I move it to there, it doesn't look terrible. This section would be here-ish, okay? It's going to crash through here, and that's okay, because when your arm pinches your shirt, it looks like it's, squeezing it, and that's basically what we're looking at there, okay? So using that large section will give us the deformation that we want. The way we do that is initially this thing looked like this. It was just another loop. I just had one extra loop. So loops, insert loop. So, and then those verts were connected. It's almost like you're cleaning up your topology when you go backwards. Connect. Connect. There we go. Okay. So this is good. And then these edges were not connected. So when I first built this model, yeah, this is what it looked like. I just had this section here. I didn't have these verts that are like there, but not really there. Remove. Okay, there. So I had this, and then what I did is I took these edges. One thing you've got to be sort of proficient at is understanding how to split edges. So I grabbed these 3, oh, that's too many. Top, F3, Z for zoom. I just want those. So I want these 3 faces. I'm going to go to edges, insert verts. And then from there, I'm going to hit connect, and that connects them all. And I can go from there and connect that as well. Sorry about the dog. It's annoying. But by connecting that, you can see that I've got that face that I wanted earlier. So that's good. Because now that face will deform properly, and I can actually move that geometry out if I need to. Like that. Which is basically all I did. Right? And from the front, I just made sure I was using a modeling material that I could see through. And then I just made sure the shape was working for me. So individual pieces, oh yeah, it's probably all the way over here. Like that. And then I went all the way to the wrist. Now, when it comes to that, once again, to create and add more geometry is very simple. You just hit the number 2, grab your edges, loops, insert loop, and then you can adjust it. So if I needed this, now once again, I want to make sure I adjust, just like when we did our, was it Coke can? I forget. We're adjusting equally on all sides because I want this thing to be equal on all sides. I don't want it to be, if I do too much of this, I get something that looks like this, right? That's very, very long and tall, but not very round. And realistically, almost everything we have, if it's large, it's large in multiple dimensions. You can double click a ring, a loop, and get the whole thing, and you can also hit W and sort of move it around. Shrink it down, move it so it fits better. do the whole select a whole bunch of stuff and then deselect stuff. So you get just what you want. That's kind of good. There. All right, cool. And then when it comes time to actually attach it back on, let's say you miscounted. All right, so let's say I did this and I was like, oh, I really wanted 10, and I have 12. Okay, so I can go back in here and actually fix this problem that I'm having by hitting the number 3, grabbing this. I'm going to cap it because that's our problem area. From here, I'm going to go into my verts, select the 2 that I want to cap or connect, and just hit connect. Now I can take this edge, grab that edge that I want to put an edge or a poly in, go to edges, insert verts. Now I've got a vert that I can use, although it's still not good because I need to connect it to the other vert so I don't have any weird connection problems later. So now, if I select this and delete it, which should be okay. Now if I grab this loop, and I deselect that and that, and I select this and this, I should have 10. Perfect. So if I make sure it has 10, and then I grab this arm, and then I will go, actually, let's go ahead and attach the arm. I'll go into your Modify tab, go into Attach, make sure they have the same material because that'll just be easier. And then attach the arm. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach it like this and then create another more geometry in the middle. So I'm going to target weld. Target weld is really, really helpful in this sort of situation because I can just say, okay, I know that this top loop that runs across my shoulder is going to run all the way down my arm. And the same thing here. This part's going to attach to there. This part is going to attach to there. And if you did your counting right, if you've got 10 edges, then you have the right amount of verts to connect every single piece. And it's as simple as stitching it together. Now I always go from my arm to my chest. The reason I do that is because I know that the chest is much more difficult to work with. The arm is a cylinder, so it's easy to sort of modify and adjust. But the chest is a pain. Come on, there we go. So once I've got that done, it doesn't look great, right? It looks like someone just sort of attached it oddly. I hit W, take this, grab it and move it down some so it looks a little better and it fits the geometry better. This could probably move out some. See how it looks sort of pinched? There's a lot of rotating. If you're not constantly sort of rotating and panning around your object, then you're not going to have good geometry. It's going to look bad from one direction or another. This doesn't look great already. In order to sort of smooth that out, I'm going to grab that edge and go to loops, insert loop. All right, and then I can, a nice thing about that is I can always right click, and I know you can't see it, but if you right click, you can come up to this area. It says convert to vertex. And then I'm going to go to geometry, relax. All right. And what that does is it sort of evens the space out. And now I'm going to make sure I'm using non-uniform scale and then just sort of do that. Now from the top, does it look okay? Yeah, it looks pretty good. That vert seems to be out of place. Just relax it in. And if it, sometimes when they relax, they get a little dimpled. Just pull them out on whatever the local normal of the area is. Now, if I render this, it's not going to look great because the smoothing groups are kind of off, especially through there. Because whenever you create geometry, smoothing groups get off. The way you can easily fix that is select the smoothing groups around it that look good and see what they are. There are 3. If I select these 2, the 3 gets unhighlighted. If I just click 3, that means that this will be 3 as well. It was basically saying that these were 3, but some of them were 3. So now everything's 3. In this case, 3. It could have been whatever. And now it looks fine. Okay. So once you add your arms, you're good to go. That's it. Tomorrow we'll be doing hands. So I look forward to seeing you then. See you next time.